Now, I'm really happy with this show so far, but there is one major problem, and it is the same problem I have from last episode that I have with this episode, and that is Titania. And I will say this, I think this time around the actress did her best to at least make the character watchable, something that she was not able to do last week. Last week, I thought she was god awful. No offense to the actress, by the way, I meant the character, because I think the actress is very good. Just the character, in my opinion, is so annoying. And I know that is something the actress even said, but the way it's written makes her not only feel annoying, but uninteresting. It just comes across like it's parodying the character, which completely alienates anyone who's a fan of Titania from the comics because she's nothing like the character from the comics. She doesn't look like her, she doesn't have the same costume, she doesn't have the same personality, she doesn't have the same backstory. She has nothing of the character from the comics. In my opinion, though, I think race bending the character was an okay choice. And I know a lot of people are upset about race bending. In my opinion, I thought Titania being race bent was fine. I didn't really see a problem with that. In fact, I think the actress who plays her does the best she can, and I really liked her on The Good Place. So I think she's perfectly casted. It's just the writing for the character is just so infuriating. It gets to the point where it just makes you want to turn off this TV because just how annoying the character really is. And if you're a fan of Titania from the comics, you will really dislike what they do here because it is just alienates any fan of Titania from the comics because it just turns her into a completely different person. It turns her from a wrestler who is a strong woman who has a very complex and huge thing with She-Hulk with the whole arch enemy thing and turns it into pettiness. In my opinion, it just comes across as such a way that makes the writers come across like they don't know what they're doing. They didn't read the source material or something because Titania is coming across very much unlike Titania to the point where it seems like a skit from Saturday Night Live. That's just how bad I think Titania on this show really is, which is going to be a huge problem in the future because if this is the show's main villain, I think they have an issue here because Titania, like I said, I think the actress is doing the best she can. The writing for the character is just so bad. Now, on to stuff that's a lot better, and that is She-Hulk. I thought She-Hulk was great this episode. And in my opinion, the whole idea of Jen struggling with her old friends was, well, not really superhero-like, it's very She-Hulk-like. And I thought it made her come across very down to earth. And overall, I thought her character came across as very human, with the whole idea that perhaps people want her to be Jen, and other people want her to be She-Hulk, but what does she want? And it's a very interesting idea that she has conflict with the people who are around her because different people want different things from her. Overall, I think that's something that a lot of people can relate with. Of course, not with superpowers, but you know what I mean. Generally, I think She-Hulk in this episode was probably the best she ever was on the series so far, which is ironic because Titania is, well, also Titania was worse last episode, I suppose, but She-Hulk here, in my opinion, was a lot better than Titania, which is weird to me because Titania and She-Hulk usually go together here, but here, She-Hulk definitely is on an entirely different level than Titania. I think She-Hulk comes across a lot more, much more like her comic counterpart, while Titania comes across like a parody, which is very odd to me because aren't both characters being written by the same people? Why does it come across like one is meant to be the same character as she is in the comics, while the other comes across like a comic parody, like you see in What If or something? And I mean the comic book What If with all the crazy like Watcher doing ballet, not the What If cartoon, which in my opinion was also really good, but it's not as crazy as a comic. Trust me, the comic is just real crazy. Dazzler becomes Galactus' enforcer. It gets weird there. So here I thought She-Hulk came across very much like a comic book counterpart, but Titania felt like a What If story. It's very odd to me. I also really like Mallory this episode. I think Mallory might be, in fact, one of my favorite characters on the show. Well, in fact, I like a lot of these characters. Well, the more heroic characters, like Pug, She-Hulk, of course, Mallory, Nikki. And Nikki, speaking of Nikki, was also great this episode, too. But Mr. Mortis is a hard one, and as a bi dude, I really appreciate that they had both female and male partners. But while I myself never really cared for the character in the comics, but seeing just how different he is from the comics, I can understand if fans of him from the comics are upset with what they do with him on the show, because he, in my opinion, is a very, very different character on the show. As I like Titania in the comics, and I'm upset with how the character on the show is like a parody. If you like Mr. Mortis in the comics, he's definitely a parody here. I personally didn't mind it because I never really cared for the character, but if you like him in the comics, I'm really sorry, but I'm pretty sure you'll probably be really upset with what they do with him here. Hopefully they won't do the same with Daredevil. They probably won't. I don't think they will. They didn't do that with Wong and She-Hulk and Hulk. Well, maybe a little bit of Hulk, but Wong and She-Hulk and Mallory, they're all great like they are in the comics. So hopefully Daredevil will be too. But at the moment with Titania and Mr. Mortis, both of which are kind of parodies of themselves, I'm a little bit worried, I'll be honest. Now to say more about the show itself, and there's been a lot of complaints about people saying that the show hates men. But as one, I don't see that, like, at all. There's plenty of likable male characters on the show. Wong, Pug, Emil, Hulk, Luke. There's even Daredevil coming. And well, yes, there's unlikable guys too, like her brother, those creepy dates. But I don't see that as a quote-unquote hate men. It's more or less be careful when, going on Tinder dates. Also, I think the whole brother thing is going to be a joke at stupid siblings. And overall, I think this whole show doesn't have really a quote-unquote agenda. I find it to just have a commentary, and a commentary and an agenda are very different things. In my opinion, it's really good at commentary. So overall, I think this show does not hate men, despite the fact that there's a lot of people claiming it does. Anyways, like always, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!